My name is Kathleen Ennis, and I am presenting on the medium of newspapers. I'm a huge fan of newspapers. I grew up surrounded by a family who, although not educated in the formal sense, were extremely news literate, and everyone read the daily paper. I started reading the newspaper almost as soon as I started to read, and I never stopped. I subscribe to and read 4 different daily newspapers. And although some claim the newspaper is dead, I still believe newspapers are an extremely relevant resource and the best way to consume news. My objectives today are to review the essential roles news consumption plays in a healthy democracy and explain why newspapers are still the most solid and reliable source for that news. Why news? Because democracy. Basically, a free press is one of the foundations of a functioning democracy, especially a representative democracy like ours, in which we elect people to represent our interests. And the people we elect represent those interests on local, state, and national levels. And the laws and policies they enact affect almost every aspect of our daily lives, from policing and civil rights to housing, homelessness, building codes, budget, taxes and infrastructure, air quality, health insurance, and even war. Actively engaging with the news allows you to clarify your thoughts and values on important issues. It's this clarity that helps us elect officials who will hopefully help shape a world in which we can all find health and happiness. That said, there is a lot of news out there available through lots of different devices like radios, TVs, phones, and computers, and coming at us from a staggering variety of sources. There are people producing news commentators commenting on that news, social media users commenting on the commentators, and even more social media users commenting on those comments. It can be a bit overwhelming, but newspapers can provide shelter from that storm. Newspapers provide objective, fact-based reporting created by people with degrees in journalism. They also provide clearly labeled opinion pieces, and these opinions come from authoritative sources. Most importantly, newspapers allow you to control the news you consume, not some social media algorithm. Traditional newspapers, think Wall Street Journal, New York Times, are your best bet for factual, nonpartisan reporting, period. Newspapers rank high in the media bias chart in terms of fact reporting. And although some, like the Wall Street Journal, skew to the right, and others, like the New York Times, skew to the left, they all avoid super hyper partisan reporting. Reporting in newspapers is conducted by reporters who have studied journalism, ethics and investigative reporting. They aren't in it for the money or the fame. They don't have cult followings or merch stores. They don't cozy up to politicians. Because journalists hold those in powers to account, those in power traditionally criticize the press. As long-term White House correspondent Helen Thomas said, every president hates the press, as it should be. The opinions of others can be an important ingredient when we are figuring out where we stand on issues, and newspapers contain a mix of facts and opinions. They always have. But whereas entertainment-based news outlets blur the line between news and analysis, newspapers clearly label opinion and analysis pieces as such. They also seek out credible opinions. Here is a snapshot of the New York Times webpage where readers can seek out authoritative, liberal opinions on the news of the day. And here's the Wall Street Journal doing the same darn thing for the conservative point of view. The best reason to read newspapers is because it forces us to escape our own bias. If you get your news from social media or even search engines like Google or Yahoo, you are only getting the news, or in many cases, the opinions those platforms think you want to read. You are getting the news you already agree with and not allowing yourself exposure to the crucial alternate points of view. By opening a newspaper or a newspaper website, as the case may be, you can choose for yourself. By the way, almost every major newspaper, including the New York Times and Wall Street Journal, offers steep student discounts. I pay between $4 and $10 a month for my newspaper subscriptions, and I wildly encourage you all to find a newspaper whose editorial style you like, subscribe to it, read it every day, and proactively and decisively engage with the world around you. Thanks for listening.